Hi, this is me doing a quick demo of a product I built called SlimTimer. Uh, I'm about to shut it down, but for posterity, I wanted to do a quick demo video just to remind myself, if no one else, what it did and how it worked in case me or someone else wants to rebuild something similar in the future. I built SlimTimer in 2006, as you see from the banner at the top here. Uh, and it's now 2020, so it's almost 15 years. And you can see in that right corner, I didn't look at how many users all time. I probably guessed somewhere like 10 to 40,000, 32 million hours logged. One of my favorite things about this homepage is that I put like random headlines into there. All right, but let's log in. So the main thing for SlimTimer is the SlimTimer itself. So this is the timer. And so it kind of looks like a little bit like an aim window. And really what happens so these are tasks. And if I want to, and this is for really freelancers. So if I was like working on a task for Deloitte here, I would just click on this and it starts keeping track of time. And you notice to keep track of like, this is the total amount of time for the session since I opened the timer. If I switch over working on Reddit, cool, it starts up another timer. And if I go back to Deloitte, you'll see that now these two things are not in sync because I had a previous session of 10 seconds or so working on Deloitte. So what's cool about this, you can easily add tasks. So I do a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So in this case, Alt-A would add the task, where you just click here. So I can add task like this, and there you go. You could switch to, okay, now I'm working on this. I also had some shortcuts in here. So I could tag this specific entry or leave comments on this entry. So if I'm working on, so basically it keeps track of every time you click on something, it creates a new time entry. If you want to, you could tag specific entries. Tags are pretty key to SlimTimer, so it uses tags for a lot of organization. You can also see there's a bunch of shortcuts in here. So if I want to create a task called new task 2, I could tag it with billable. And there's some other things in here where like you could put in, like I could share this with other users. I think that it says add it, share it with a coworker. Let's see if that actually works. It may not. I may have put that down again wrong. Still saving. While it's still saving that, other thing you can do is basically like when you're done with the task, you can check it off, and that marks it as done. And you can kind of go from there. So that's the SlimTimer itself. I'm not sure why that didn't return. I'm not going to worry about it. Pretty straightforward. Again, most of it's just clicking in between these things. So if I close this, you can see if I go to tasks, here's my tasks. I can edit them. So there's the red task. This is the number of, back here is the total number of hours I've ever worked on it. So 19 hours. You can see billable. This was actually, I think, a non-billable project. This is just a redesign I did for Reddit. And then you've got all these things for sharing it, either with coworkers or reporters. So coworkers were people that could also basically log time entries against the task. And reporters were people that could just get reports. It's kind of a flat hierarchy structure. You kind of just peer-to-peer. You can see my tasks. I can see other people's tasks that share with me. And I can see all the tasks I've completed, which there's a lot. And so you can kind of see some of these had people that were working on it with me. And so if I have those, you can see they're in here, and I can always remove them elsewhere. You can also share things via tags. So I added this concept here where like you could basically, if I tagged a bunch of these billable or as like a certain subset of projects, I could share a tag with people. So you can see in this case, Scott Rutherford has access to this task because he has the tag Ajax scaffold. So any task that's tagged Ajax scaffold, he has access to. So that's the hierarchy for this. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. If I click over here to edit entries, so this is actually editing like every time entry. You can see that like in my short period of time here, I'll have 10 seconds working on Deloitte, 22 seconds working on Deloitte after I switch, and a minute working on new task. I think you saw me switch it actually to the Reddit task, but I didn't get over the time threshold. So I'm pretty sure I had a threshold where like you had to be working on something for more than 10, it might even been, I think it was 10 seconds before it would count, so we didn't add a bunch of like miscellaneous entries. Again, I can go into here, I can tag individual specific things. edit and save them. And you could also manually create them. So if I said, gosh, I did work on Reddit today, I just forgot to log it, and I started at 1 p.m. and I went to now. So it does some nice things here where it like automatically guesses, like it'll handle almost any kind of like time format you put in there. And as you tab, it automatically calculates the duration. And again, non-billable. And it also just tags. This was fun. So cool. So that's how you log new entries. You can see when I have tags or comments, they show up in here. I didn't have any yesterday. I have this one. So now you can see I logged a couple hours on Reddit. And again, I got this so I can skip back and forth between days very easily. The last thing I want to show you is the reporting. So probably the two key things about this are, or the three key things. One is the ease of the timer. The second one is the use of tagging pretty exclusively, and then the simple reporting. So we'll have to go way back in time to find the last time I did any loggable hours in here. So let's go back to like 2010. So here's a basic report. It's a pivot report. Rows are tasks. You can see the option across here, and columns are time. So this is how much time by year I spent on these projects. I don't know what that one is. It's clearly a joke. Users, so I can go in here and say I can pick specific people. I'm the only person in this time range. So it's smart enough, so I probably need to go back. Let's really turn back the clock here. As I type in new time ranges, it's going to load in. Here's all the people that were available that were actually working on things. So let's take a glance. I'm just going to have to reload that because it's also loading all the tags and tasks. So you can do filtering here. I could say, show me all the tasks during this time frame. Show me all the tags. You could also have an option to like, I can either report just on how I tag things or how other people have tagged things as well. Oh, this is slow. And then you've got some round up the totals, nearest to minutes. So there's a lot of, like when you do kind of, additions of rounded numbers. So there's a lot of agonizing about how to do this. Do we round only the total numbers, right? So in this case, no matter how many entries I had, we're going to round up the total to the nearest 10 minutes, or do you round up each time entry to the nearest second, don't round, minute, 60 minutes, of any. So a lot of good options there that are generally, I think, driven by community input. So once again, specific. So let's look at Lance and me and see what we did on. Let's use tags. Tags are always more fun. On billable things, did we do much? Let's see. Reporting was never the fastest part. Oh, here we go. So we did a lot in 2006. And if I then switch it by users, let's actually let's look at how much I did versus how much Lance did. Lance didn't do much that year. Come on, Lance. Maybe because it wasn't billable. Let's clear this and see if he's in this report. Cool, there he is. He did a few hours on some of these things. So there you have it. That is SlimTimer. Again, been up and running for almost 15 years. A lot of people use it, 8 hours a day. I still don't think there is anything out there that is as simple as this, and certainly not as cheap as this at free. We did also at one point offer a premium version of this that had a fun like name your own price, where we suggested a price based on how much you used it. Maybe at some point I'll do a fun blog post on that data. Anyways, thanks for watching, Future Me or other people.